to take it away. Just want to make sure everybody is aware of our party.
Thank you.
Layla, I know you're not an agent here yet, but you're invited too.
Yeah.
That's Charles.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And Stacy and Vikra, feel free to interrupt me at any point today in today's session, because I don't pay attention to the chats as I'm lecturing. So just feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question or something that's not clear, and I want to explain, okay? Can you hear me all? Can you hear me all?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, Layla can hear, so you know that everybody can hear. If anybody can't hear you, it's their computer, it's not ours.
Okay. All right, guys, welcome to session 5 of Generate Your Leads. Very exciting session. Now we're going to get into the juice of stuff right now. Our primary function as real estate agents, lead generation. I can't stress how much importance this is. Okay, and before we start today's session, if you remember from last time, I gave you guys the homework, those who attended. Anybody did his homework from last time? Okay, Johnny, okay. And the homework was the value proposition for those who are just attending for the first time today.
Yes.
So value proposition, just in short terms, it's to answer the question if a buyer or seller would ask you, why should I work with you and not the other agents? That's the value you're summarizing as today. Johnny's going to tell us his value proposition.
I pride myself on clear communication, expert negotiation skills, and a commitment to delivering exceptional results for my clients. Let me guide you through every step of your real estate journey.
Very good. I like it.
Nice.
Okay, and I know you guys were here last time, so I'm sure you're prepared, but and I don't see anybody from Zoom who was there last time, so anyway, so that was basically the value proposition from last time. And just to review the formula that we have in Ignite, because if we want to summarize the 20 sessions of Ignite, because Ignite is 20 sessions, as you know, into 4 steps, it's actually becoming a real estate expert of choice, and then lead generation, which we're starting in today, lead follow-up, and transaction. This formula revolves around, all the real estate functions you do revolve around this formula, okay? If we go deeper into that formula, we will see where we were and where we are and where we're going. The objective of Ignite in the first segment, which is becoming the real estate expert of choice, and that's to spark your career. And spark your career, if you remember, it was focusing on the mindsets and the 6 personal skills, which is, anybody remember what the 6 personal skills are? Okay, it's being committed to self-mastery and being committed to the 20-80 principle results, if you remember. Moving from E to P, exactly, entrepreneurial to P, embrace your job after that, and then connect with your market. Connect with your market, we learned how to become an expert in the real estate and understanding the market. And then in the last session, in session 4, was define your value. And in that, we learned how to make a value proposition, because everybody can be a real estate agent, but not everybody's a real estate expert. And it's crowded right now with real estate agents, and all what we need to do right now is distinguish ourselves from other real estate agents. And by doing that is defining our value proposition. That's what we discussed in the last session. So we finished the first segment of real estate expert of choice. Now we're going to discuss lead generation. This is the second segment in the first class today, generates your leads. In today's agenda, Generate Your Leads, we're going to discuss you as the lead generator and lead generation model, your sphere of influence, expanding your SOI, your sphere of influence, lead generation, best practices, and then ahas after that. The question I have for you before we go deeper now into today's class, any of you have started lead generation since you guys started with KW or took your license, or not yet? Any of you have started? It's okay if you said no, but just out of curiosity.
Through conversations with coworkers, yes.
Okay. Conversations, let's just start, okay? Co-workers can be considered a sphere of influence. Anybody else start? including Zoom as well. Anybody? What we're going to learn today is we need to set a time every day to lead generate. Okay? Remember the daily success system? We took an Ignite in the first 4 sessions. So we need to set a time for it. We're going to go into that in a little bit. So, but when you think about lead generation, and let's say you're going to set a time for it, do you guys have any fears or any concerns, or what do you think when you're starting to lead generate? What comes to your mind? And I'm not saying how do you lead generate, because we're going to get into that, but I'm just talking about lead generation. Let's say you're supposed to pick up the phone and call people, or start interacting with people to get business. What do you think? What does your mind tell you?
I got
Go ahead.
some James.
Go ahead.
So one of the lead generating techniques that I've been that I've had the opportunity of participating in is open houses recently.
Okay.
And I guess just like the basic concept of like what it means to even like share a lead. It gets really complicated. What I realized in the industry. This might be like a step further,
But do you guys like have fear of lead generation? Like, do you have like? Let me put it straightforward. You guys feel that you might get rejected because you're gonna make a call. I'm not interested in selling or buying. You guys get that fear?
I wouldn't say I have a fear of rejection. What I have a fear of, I would say the most, is a potential client asking me a question that I don't have the exact answer for, and just making sure that everything that I say, of course, is factual.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. I wish we can get back the screen. I somehow lost it.
Oh no.
Where's the Dan go? Dan? Dan? Okay. Here we go. Good. Okay. All right. That's a very good point. So John brought up a very good point. He says one of the fears he has is he feels he doesn't know enough information yet, because what if a client asks me, or a potential client asks me a question about real estate that I don't know the answer to? That's why you guys, you have nothing to fear, because you're already attending training. You are learning based, one of the 6 personal skills that we learned in session 1, Spark Your Career. And in session 3, Connect with Your Market, we learned 2 things: how to build your expertise and how to know your market. Know your market, like know your numbers, know the inventory in the city you're farming in general, and how to look for numbers. That's what we learned in session 3. So you'll be ready for questions like that, because you already know what the potential questions are going to be. Like, for example, how's the market? We already learned what seller's market is and what a buyer's market is. We learned that in session 3. Okay? Stuff like that. So you're already ready. That's why the first segment in the course was about becoming the real estate expert of choice. So you all are now real estate experts. Okay? So now when you start generating leads, put in your mindset, I know my numbers and I know what to do. Let's say you're cold calling a list of numbers in the city of Torrance, for example. I advise you, before you do that, know the numbers for Torrance. Know what inventory is out there. Know average days on market if you're calling a particular neighborhood or city. So that if you run into a lead who's willing to work with you, and he asks you a question, you appear knowledgeable from him. Very simple. So the knowledge you already covered. You gotta apply what you learned by always seeking to learn the market updates every week. Search MLS about the city you're farming and cultivating. Got it? That was a very good question. In Embrace Your Job, we learned the 6 core competencies of business. And we discussed this. And I'm gonna, if some of you who weren't with us when we discussed the 6 core competencies of business, which is Embrace Your Job, session 2 in Ignite. Basically, each one of us is not just a real estate agent or a realtor. They're also the CEO of their own business, okay? You guys are CEOs of your own business. With your power and your intelligence, you'll be able to make your business $1 million business or a business that does a few thousand every year. It's up to you. What are the 6 core competencies you need as a CEO? Lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments, which we're going to cover in today and in the coming sessions. Present to buyers and sellers and get agreements, which we're going to cover in session 14 and 15, win buyers and win sellers. Show buyers and market sellers, we're going to cover that in session 17. Write and negotiate contracts, we're going to cover that in session 18 as well. Session 5, the 5th core competency, coordinate the sale to closing, that's going to be session 19. And manage the money, which is your own money actually, it's going to be in session 20. So these are the 6 core competencies of any successful business, not just the real estate business. This is a business that you run, and you need these 6 core competencies in order to have a successful business. So let's focus now on how you can build business, get people, because we are in the people business, who will get you more money for your business, or because through them you're going to close escrows and get your commission checks. Some people have fear of, in general, of cold calling or door knocking or however form of leads generation technique you're using that involves prospecting, of course, because of fear of rejection. So you have 2 choices here. Either you're afraid to lead generate, or you're afraid to fail. Whatever scale weighs more is going to determine your success. What Gary Keller says, my fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating, because he was afraid that he was failed because he's afraid of lead generation. That came heavier. So he conquered the fear of lead generation because he was more afraid to fail. He wanted to succeed by any means. And that's how you should think. Because if you don't lead generate because you're afraid, then you're going to fail. There's no other way around it. Okay? Especially because you're starting new as real estate agents. Later on, as you build your business, you're going to get more referrals from past clients, and that has a system in itself. But for starters, you don't have anything right now, and we're teaching you techniques how you can use what you have in your hand and how you get more. Any questions so far on what I'm saying? Or any comments you want to add? Let's talk about some of the lead generation fears and myth. Okay? I think lead generation is really difficult. That's a thought that comes to a lot of agents. Okay? I don't have time to lead generate. Okay? I don't know what to say. I'm afraid of making mistakes. Now let's take them one by one and see how we can handle each one. I think lead generation is really difficult. So what's happening here is we're confusing efforts with enjoyment. Lead generation is actually easy. Even though they say it's just not fun, not necessarily. To some people it is fun. But it is easy. We get used to it. It's easy. It's not a big deal. Think of it as a people skill. You're building a relation. When you talk to somebody, just establish a conversation, build a relationship, and then bring up that you're in real estate. And see if you can offer help. Make the person that you're talking to feel that you're offering help. You're not seeking business. That's something I care about. Because there's a difference. People can sense, he's a salesperson, he wants to sell me something. Make him feel that you want to offer help. Okay? Not seek business. Because, as I mentioned, people can read through that really easy. I don't have time to lead generate. I had an issue of making time to lead generate and protecting that time. What basically needs to happen here, there's no such thing as I don't have time to lead generate. If you put on your schedule an hour or 2 every day that you're going to lead generate and commit to that, then you're going to have time. We always have time for Facebook, to watch a football game, to go out and eat somewhere. So we can make time for that because we tend to forget our job is like, since we're in real estate, we manage our own time. We still have a 9 to 5 job. And some people start earlier than that. So since you have a 9 to 5 job, you get to make your schedule your own, but you got to put in that schedule to lead generate. I don't know what to say. So you need to learn how to master dialogue skills, okay? Very simple. So there are scripts for everything. There are scripts for cold calling. There are scripts for calling for sale by owners. There are scripts for calling expires. There are scripts for door knocking, you know. Each one has a technique. And as I mentioned, it's recommended that you try everything and see what gets you the most results. That's why it's important to track our numbers. We're going to be discussing that later on. So there's scripts for everything. Just practice it. Consider every call you make or whatever lead generation method, you're practicing a script, and then you're going to memorize it. When you memorize it, you're going to internalize it, and it's going to come out naturally. Okay? I'm afraid of making mistakes. So what? Everybody makes mistakes. The best agents in the world made mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. And already Keller Williams set you up that you don't make mistakes, or you make the least amount of mistakes in the beginning. But even if you do make mistakes, there are mistakes. Because everybody, when he starts a scrape, makes some mistakes. The important thing is you don't make an ethical mistake, because you know the ethics. But to make a mistake in saying the wrong thing, it's okay. So what if you lost that client? You're going to get another one. It's okay. But you got to learn from your mistakes. So that's how you should approach whenever you get a negative thought. You know, one of the 6 personal skills, you know, remove any limited beliefs. That was the 5th one, so that we learned that in the session 1. So any negative thoughts or that tells you, I'm not good at lead generation, I won't be able to convince somebody to work with me, I'm not going to succeed in real estate, get that negative thoughts out. Always hear positive things, you know. Not to get into religion or anything, but like for example, you listen to Joel Osteen, you listen to him, he always has positive message, you know. Always say, stay focused. You are gonna succeed. You are gonna be something great. Always think that in your mind. It's a positive thing. Now let's talk about, what do you think that is? That graph is?
Sphere of influence.
Very good. Good job. That's the sphere of influence. So, as we lead generate, you have to know beforehand that the most or the biggest results you're going to get from your lead generate is going to come from your sphere of influence. Why is that? Because these people already know you. When you ring on them, they will pick up the phone and they will talk to you. Unlike a cold call, who is this? I'm James from Keller Williams. What do you want? Okay. So, when you're talking to sphere of influence, they're going to listen to you. I just got my license in real estate. And I was wondering if you know if you're gonna sell or buy, just let me know. Most likely he's not planning on selling, but at least you ask the question. The second question you'd ask is, well, do you know anybody, co-worker, friend, church who's looking to buy or sell? I will be happy to help out. He will, say, you know what? I was talking to my friend at work yesterday. He did think he was thinking about it. I'll tell him about it. That's how it works. All right? So sphere of influence is very important. Let's look at the sphere of influence, income opportunity. How do we organize the sphere of influence? For starters, where is the sphere of influence going to exist? For each one of you. Each one of you has a sphere of influence, but where does it exist right now? In your, exactly. You're pointing at your phone. Good job. Phone. It's on your phone. How many contacts do you have on your phone?
Just depends on the platforms.
Yeah.
Well, on your phone.
Yeah, on my phone. So I know some of them are other real estate agents, and we're going to get to that later on, how we're going to categorize the sphere of influence. But let's say each one, by the way, there's a way of knowing that, the exact number. You go to an application called Contacts, and from there you would see how many number of contacts you have on your phone. The second step after that, which we're going to get to that later on, is you're going to upload all those contacts on command database. And there's a reason for that. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But anyway, back to the chart that we see in front of us. So, we get the number of contacts on our phone, and then we put, let's say they're 250, okay? So what is the potential closing opportunities from contacts? Well, based on a census, okay? From the 2020 census of homeowners are 64.8%, okay? home owners, based on a 2020 census, are 64.8%, okay? And at the same time, based on NAR, National Association of Real Estate Agents, people tend to sell their home every 8 years, okay? All right? Every 8 years, someone is most likely to sell or buy, or sell and buy every 8 years. So if we divide the 64.8% of homeowners divided by 8 years, we're going to come up to 8.1%. Okay? So that means potential closing opportunity from the 250 contacts that you have on your phone is 0.081 times 250. You following the math so far? So it comes to 20. Does it make sense? It's okay if you're not good at math.
We have a phone.
It's a good one. Okay, so 20. So these are 20 out of the 250. There's 20 potential closing opportunities, where it could be a buyer, seller, or a seller and a buyer at the same time, based on the 0.081, which we saw how we got. Each one also can give you another referral. It's called an exponential effect. Why is it called exponential effect? Because everybody you know out of the 250 at least knows another 100 persons. And out of the 100 persons, he may know somebody who wants to sell or buy. So let's assume out of the 100 persons he knows like 10%. So if we assume 10% out of the people you know, he will refer you business. So that's another 25 referrals you can get. So based on the actual 250 that you have on your phone, which I know you have much more than 250 on your phone, you can get 20 from the contacts themselves willing to sell or buy, or both. And at the same time, they will refer you people whom they know, whom you don't know, which could be 10%, 25, okay? So we have a total here, total potential of 45 people. What's the average commission in our area? We are blessed by God that we live in California. I'm not talking about the negative things.
No, yeah, like the percent one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly, because homes are expensive in California, especially in Palos Verdes. You know, we have a lot of expensive homes, even in Torrance. It's very difficult to find a single-family home in Torrance. You know, yeah, it's very difficult. So it's when I hear other states, they say 600, 500, 400. Here we got a single-family home averages anywhere from like 800 to going up, how we got the lead. So let's say the average commission here is $20,000. Even though I didn't assume it's 1 million and 2.5%, we just went conservative, $20,000. So the income opportunity here is $900,000. I'm talking in 1 year. Okay. So all this is possible if you follow the model and be consistent and have a systematic approach just by lead generating on your database. Can you imagine? Just the database. I'm not talking about going cold calling and door knocking, and that's the other stuff that's traditional. That's just SOI income opportunity, if we treat it right. Okay? And that's someone who's consistent, doing it like every day and touching on the database consistently. Okay? So, any ahas so far?
Nope.
Questions? Zoom at the same time. Any questions? Okay. Lead generation model. Of course, we saw this model before. Oops. Sorry about that.
Can Devin shrink that? Click the little plus, the minus sign, and it'll just be that one.
Oh,
The-
perfect.
oh.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is the general model for lead generation. First step in lead generation is lead capture. And lead capture involves two things: prospecting and marketing. Okay? You know there's a difference between prospecting and marketing, right? Did you know that? Or you did? Okay, very good. We're going to discuss it in a second. Whatever you capture from prospecting. And marketing, you're going to put into your database. And when I say capture, I mean getting the information, the full name, the cell phone, the email address. If he's a homeowner, you would get the actual street address. You feed this information into your database, into command. And inside, that's the first step. And inside your database, the second step, we're going to do something called relationship management. Because we are in the business of relationship with people, or people relationship. And there's a reason the database is called CRM. You know what CRM stands for?
Customer relationship management.
Exactly. Very good. Exactly. Customer relationship manager, client relationship manager, exactly. So that's the reason why, I remember in my first year of real estate, because I didn't start in Keller Williams, so I just was in, no need to mention the name of the brokerage, but I didn't have the proper training, so sometimes someone mentions CRM, what is the CRM, what is that? So CRM is customer relationship management. So why is it relationship management? Because you're constantly nurturing your leads, you're touching up with your leads, you're following up with your leads. As you noticed in the formula for Keller Williams, for Ignite, in the beginning, I want to go back to all that, it's okay. Remember how it said real estate expert of choice, and then lead generation, and then lead follow-up, and then transaction? So we dedicated an entire segment for lead generation, which is like 5 classes, and then there's a lead follow-up, another 5 or 6 classes. So it's very important, very important. So we can get a lead, that's a good step, you got the lead, but you need to follow up with that lead and nourish the relationship and cultivate that relationship. So there is leads on the left and there's contacts on the right. Leads are like someone told you he's interested in selling, or a referral you got from your sphere of influence, or whatever lead you got. In order to convert him to a contact, that means you established a relationship with that person. You got permission to contact him again, to send him marketing information, to follow up with him. That's when you refer to that person as a contact, because you established a relationship. Now that you established a relationship, you need to strengthen that existing relationship by nurturing that relationship and constantly following up to see what the needs are. You know, if he's thinking of selling in 3 months, always send him market updates about his neighborhood. If he's thinking of buying, connect him with a lender and tell him why is it the benefits of home ownership, stuff like that. This is called nurturing, cultivating. Okay? So cultivate contacts for conversion until you eventually convert into step 4, into close. And then we call that client referral loop, no repeat and referrals. Okay? So, prospecting and marketing. For step 1, let's take a deeper look into that. Lead generating activities that deliver leads into your business. So this is the 2 ways you can get leads. Either prospecting or marketing. Of course, prospecting to your sphere of influence, or the other forms of lead generation like door knocking, cold calling FISBOs, however, social media. Let's take a comparison between prospecting and marketing. Notice it's a big triangle, and the base of it is prospecting, and then on top is marketing. Notice how prospecting is on the base. The reason for that is because prospecting takes much of our time. Okay? Unlike marketing. But at the same time, even though it takes much of our time, it takes minimal money, if no money. Okay? You don't spend money when you go cold call or door knock or talk to your sphere of influence. The good thing about prospecting is the results are immediate. You can talk to your cousin on the phone. Anybody, oh yeah, my neighbor wants to sell. Okay, connect me with him. It could be immediate results. But if you're marketing, it's expensive. You're going to be mailing out flyers or postcards or spending whatever advertisement you're doing, and people are going to see you, but they're not going to necessarily call you from the first time they see your ad or see your postcard. It's going to take a long time. They have to see you a lot. They're going to think, oh, that person's been in business for a while. And then in the middle, as if you're spending all that money, as you sending all these postcards or magazines, someone will call him up, I can help you sell, and he will convince him, see how this would happen. That's why prospecting, especially in the early stages of real estate, is much more effective, especially budget-wise, than marketing. I'm not saying you don't market, but just focus more on prospecting and spend minimal budget on marketing. Prospecting, immediate results, proactive, you're being proactive, you're not just staying here passive, and it's time intensive. Marketing, long-term results, and it's passive, you're just sitting here and you're spending the money. And it's money intensive, as you can see. You're going to spend a lot of money, and the results are not going to be immediate. Any questions about prospecting or marketing so far? Any ahas?
I got one, James.
Yeah.
Just doing a quick reflection, I think it's also super important to include in our value proposition what it means to be a part of Keller Williams and what we represent. Because a rookie mistake for myself is that even if you are in close contact with your sphere, they might not know that we function nationwide and we function from state to state, and that's business in itself. And so, for example, yes, we are a brokerage here in Palos Verdes, but personal anecdote, I have people in my sphere who have recently entered transactions, and they didn't know that I'd be able to help them out on the east side of LA or in other parts of Southern California. So I think it's very important that when we contact our database, that's very clear. If I can't help you, Keller Williams can, and I know someone that can.
That's very good, and I'm impressed you said that without attending my class last time about value proposition, because remember how I said the best value proposition you can write is combined with KW. Combine your value proposition with the KW value proposition, because we are the biggest real estate brokerage franchise in the world, global, okay? We have 1,100 offices, we are the #1 in sales volume and dollar. You gotta bring that up. So we are a big deal, we are big, and the market center itself. So KW as a brand in general, and also the market center. We are a well-reputable market center, and we can always brag with the market center's numbers if we don't have any numbers yet. So you can talk about the numbers of the market center, and I have the best team, best people to coach me and guide me. But you said very good, you're thinking big outside of the box, and that's exactly what we taught in the last session. Define your proposition, your value. So that was a very good point, thank you. Relationship management, the second section. We notice the database is a container that holds information of all your leads and contacts. Again, in the beginning, I just had all my contacts on my phone, I would just remember, but eventually I would forget. But when you have them as a database, you would have a system following up, because the success of following up of your database is with a systematic approach. You gotta constantly touch on them. A smart database, so there's a database and there's a smart database. A database that allows you to have planned and meaningful communication with your client. We're going to discuss how to have a smart database in the next session, which is growing your database. We're going to talk more about that. But basically where we can have campaigns on smart campaigns from command and stuff like that. So always good when you categorize and you tag each contact you have according to a different thing, Even if you know something personal about, they had a baby, or they're going to have a baby, or they just got married, or their in-laws are coming over, whatever, just put notes. You always have that. So when you talk to them and you bring those notes up, oh, that person really remembers me. They don't know that you already took notes, I have a very poor memory about a lot of things, but when I take notes, I remember that person specifically had this thing. So, then they're going to discuss about leads and contacts, as I explained. Leads, people who have earned the right at least to have a one-way conversation with. Contacts, people you hold a two-way conversation with whom you've established a value-based relationship. So basically, contacts are people you have a value-based relationship, and you're able to contact them directly. And lead, you're just building your relationship. Once you build a relationship, they become a contact, okay? That's basically your database. Now we're going to talk about cultivate contacts for conversion. So relationships, any relationship, I'm not talking about that, must be attended to, cared for, and cultivated, okay? So if you're, that's why we call it farming, you know? If you're planting something, you don't just plant it and then come like 6 months or a year from now and expect it to be a big tree. You have to cultivate it. You always have to water it every now and then, put seeds around it, you know, remove the soil around it in order for it to grow. That's exactly what you're doing with the contacts you have. They must be attended, cared for, and cultivated, because if you don't attend and care for it, some other agent will pop up, and there's a ton of agents out there who's hungry for business. You know, they're gonna, you know, do whatever it takes to convince that person to work with. Believe it or not, it could be your cousin, he could be taken, you know. So that's why you always have to be in touch with your contacts and constantly nurture the relationship and attend to that relationship, okay? Types of communication. So when you're communicating, you could do a phone call. Usually that's the strongest one. But some people, you know, prefer text. I'm talking about people, I'm not referring to us. We're not looking for what's easier for us. We're always talking what's convenient for the clients. To see what your client or leads prefer and go with that. Sometimes we're working with clients that says, I prefer texting because I don't like, oh, whatever, okay, I'll do texting. Like some people tell you, no, I like phone calls, I don't want to go. Like texting, I don't know. So depending on what your contact likes or prefers, you go with that. So there's a phone call, there's an email, there's a text message, there's face-to-face. Face-to-face actually is the strongest, more than a phone call. And then there's the KW app. Whenever you have a contact, be sure to give the KW app that's customized to you, to that person, so that they will always, when they search, you will be notified. And there's handwritten communication, which makes them feel it's a personal gesture you're doing, that you're giving them a personal note. So these are the forms of communication. Of course, there's another form that they mention here, like if someone posts something on Facebook or Instagram, you can always make a comment, a nice comment, oh, lovely picture, for example. That's something they would appreciate that, you know. They'll start noticing you if they didn't notice you before. We get to the last part of the database cylinder or container, client and referral loop. Okay? Your database will generate leads in the form of new, repeats, or referral business. So we notice here, client and referral loop, after the transaction closes, whether you're closing with a buyer or closing with a seller, that's not where the story ends. Because that's where a lot of agents make that mistake. You never end the relationship as closes, even by parting gifts. That's not enough. You gotta continuously, you know, send them information, ask about them. How are you doing? Are you enjoying your new house? Hey, this is 1 year anniversary of your new home. How is it going? Because eventually, two things could happen. First of all, they may sell in 2 years, or what's more important, they can refer you other business. Once you leave them alone, life goes on, they're going to forget about you. We're human nature, forget. I say all the time, I sometimes forget what my cousin does for a living. So how are you? He's going to remember, oh, that's the agent that helped me. Even if he's a loyal person, he may forget. So when you're constantly in touch with him, if someone talks about buying a house, selling a house, he will refer you, especially when you're always every 3 months or every 6 months giving him a phone call. Every 3 months you're texting him. Every month you're sending him an email about the neighborhood information, market updates, you know? So you're always going to be in his mind. That's why it's called a loop, because it never ends. You always, new and repeat, he can be selling again with you and buying again. And he might refer you business. That's why it's very important. Okay? Now, we put it all together. The cylinder. Lead generation never ends. It's best when time blocked, and it will determine the size of your business. So lead generation never ends. No matter how much you grow, you always want to keep growing. Don't think, oh, I have enough money. Don't think that. Eventually, if you're just relying on your sphere of influence are not going to have the leads all the time for you, or the referrals. So you always have to constantly generate more leads, okay? Always. And don't rely only on your sphere of influence. That's the strongest portion you're going to get from, but try always to get new leads, okay? It's best when time blocked. There's a law in bold. Bold is a heavy, or is a hardcore training that's with money, actually, Caroline's. It's coming up soon. That teaches experienced agents and new agents how to, accelerate their business, okay? There's a law there that says if it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. So you always have to time block it in your schedule to lead generate. Because I'm gonna lead generate tomorrow. Okay. Did you set a time up for it? Just like you set a time up going to the movies with my friends tomorrow at 5. Okay, you time block that. Why don't you time block time for lead generation? You gotta do that. If you don't do it, you're gonna forget, eventually push it one day after another, then eventually you're not lead generating. Or sometimes we get busy, let's say we're opening 3 escorts at the same time and you're busy with that client and that client and that client, or busy showing homes, but you're working in the business, you're forgetting to work on your business and generating more leads. You need to generate more leads. So it's best when time blocked. So if you want to succeed in lead generation, put a time in your schedule and make it a time block for it, okay? And as you know, lead generation will determine the size of your business. Whether you're $1 million business or a business that does 50,000, 100,000, that's going to be up to you as the CEO of your business, how much lead generation you're going to do. Ahas or questions? Any questions from Zoom? Okay. We're going to talk about our sphere of influence. These pictures show you, the different places to refresh your memory. Whether you're doing an activity or something, or charity, or the gym, or your neighbor, or your doctor, or your restaurant. We're going to go into that. So we have a sphere of influence. Now we need to categorize it into these categories. And you'll be able to do that, by the way, in Command, by tagging. You can put as many tags as you want for every contact. So you need to tag it first by immediate family, friends, relatives, neighbors. And I only want immediate family because I know you lost a transaction. I can't believe your sister. It's okay. But she didn't know that you could have referred to this. It's okay. Relatives, neighbors, past co-workers. So not just your current co-workers. If you were working in a prior company, you have the number. Call them up and tell them, you know what? I just want to let you know I got my real estate license. I'm a real estate, so if you ever have any real estate questions, come as a point of service. Don't tell them if you just want to sell or buy. No, just tell them I would be happy to answer any questions. Free consultation. Past co-workers, hobby, sports groups, like the gym or whatever. Teachers, whether you're still going to school, for example, studying for something, doing a master's, taking a diploma, whatever, that's a teacher. Teachers of your kids, teachers of your brother or sister who's taking, that's a connection, okay? Worship, club, volunteer, church, whatever type of faith you have, wherever you go, start going more. Build relationships over there, okay? Whatever your faith is, go to that place. Go to your church and start building relationships there. It's a win-win. You're going to worship there, and at the same time, you're going to build relationships with people who might work with you later on. Professional services, like attorneys, your accountant who does your taxes, all these professional services. Financial and legal services. Personal services. Home services. Real estate agents. So why do we have real estate agents in the database? But it's important that we categorize them as real estate agents. So that when we, for example, send a campaign, we don't send to the real estate. But why do we have them there? What's the purpose of having real estate agents? Because we do have on our phones real estate agents. What's good about that?
You never know if you're gonna do a transaction with that person. So
That's
you
good.
want to get to know
Very good.
as
Yes.
many agents as possible,
That's
just
good.
because you may never know.
Exactly. He knows you. It will make, if he's like has multiple offers. Oh, I know that person. So he will probably favor you if all things are equal. Another thing also very important about real estate agents, if they're like, for example, another state, they can refer you business. You know, you could refer to them. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and then also just in essence, like real estate is a relationship business. So the idea of like reciprocity goes a long way. So
Yes.
with our with the brokers tours that we go to, like like we're introducing ourselves at face value, but maybe one day like they'll be coming to us.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially from agents that are in other states as well. You never know who's moving to California. They'll just connect with you. Talk about build your soil. And always build your sphere of influence day by day, because they do increase the more you regenerate, the more you do that. Sometimes you're going on a grocery shop and someone, I do that all the time, by the way. Someone, for example, tells me, you can go ahead and we only have a few items. That was nice. That's a nice one. Thank you so much, sir. By the way, here's my business card. I'm in real estate. If you ever have any real estate question, call me anytime. I'll be happy. So you're not telling him, if you want to sell a bike, call me. No, you're just giving him, you just got your card. You never know. And you're saying, I'm going to give you a free consultation. So it's not like you're pushing yourself. You're just showing your gratitude that he just offered you a space, which that happens to us a lot. So always use an excuse. So always have your business cards on you wherever you go. Bold law. Change the way to look at things, and the things you look at change. By the way, BOLD stands for Business Objective Life by Design. So we're in a business where we can design our life as we want. If we manage our business good so that we make a lot of money, we'll be able to control more of our time and buy good things with the money that we make. So to start, we need to change the way we look at things. We can't say, oh, nobody's going to work with me. I'm not going to talk to that person because that person, I know he's going to prefer working with the best agent in the city. So no, people don't, how do you know? You got to talk, you got to try. And if when you get a rejection, it's okay. I want someone to work with someone who wants to work with me. It's normal that everybody gets rejected. Don't take it personal. You just probably caught that person in the wrong time. Ahas or questions? Okay, expanding your sphere of influence. Add more personal information to your SOI. Like, for example, the more you establish a relationship, because the first time you're meeting a lead, you're not going to ask him for his birthday. Once you establish a relationship, now he becomes a contact. So, you want me to send you market information? Okay, so then the more you, like on the third call, can I get your birthday so I can, when you get the birthday, for example, you would, send him a text, happy birthday, or call him on that day. It goes a long way. Oh, you remember my birthday? That's nice of you, So stuff like that. Get personal. He's like having a baby in September. Oh, then you're gonna, follow up. So did your wife have the baby yet, or did you have the baby yet? So stuff like that. Get personal information and put it in the notes. So when you want to follow up, you would know what to follow up with, because you have like a database with like 500 people or more. So you want to know what you're going to talk about when you talk to that person. So if you can add personal information, that's a plus. It will be giving you a talking point, and that talking point will go a long way. Expand your SOI. Just ask. Again, constantly ask for referrals. Always end the conversation with when you're following up with the sphere of influence. Even if they're not going to do the business, you know anybody who wants to do business. And be specific. Know anybody in church or a co-worker or wherever he's active in who wants to sell or buy. You never know. He might tell you, you know what? I think someone is interested in selling. Let me give him your information. Or let me connect you together. Always ask. And strengthen casual connections. Let's say you go to a soccer league, a attend with your, let's say your brother or your sister is married and they have children, or you have children who go, but you always go, but you don't have any real connections with the parents there. No, start making connections. Open conversations. Oh, your son is very good today in that soccer game. I like how he grew. And by the way, what do you do for your business? I'm an engineer. Oh, that's nice. He's going to ask you. It's a must. What do you do? I'm in real estate. If you ever have any real estate questions, call me. Here's my card. Here you're not appearing to be pushy, okay? And yeah, if you want to sell, call me. Don't you want to sell? No. You sound desperate, but when it becomes casual in a conversation, it will happen. Just like the Ford, we learned Ford in session 3. Expand your SOI. Join groups that will connect you with people with similar interests and values. So if you like basketball, if you like baseball, if whatever you like to do, see where you can join groups and get to know more people. See what interests you. So do something that you're interested in and get to know more people there. Okay? So that's what you do. And based on that, you will build relationships. Expand your SOI referrals, as I mentioned, very important. Always ask for referrals. And referrals, by the way, in our market is one of the strongest form because in order to, let's say, make a cold call, not to say that cold call doesn't work. Cold call works for some people, but it doesn't work for me, for example. But some people are good at it. They just call and they nail it. Right now, people want to work with someone they already know or someone they can trust, a friend of a friend, or a friend of yours worked with this real estate agent. Okay, I trust you, I'm going to work with him. But so referrals is a very strong thing, what I'm trying to say. So try to always get referrals from your sphere of influence. Gather leads from your sphere of influence. Tell them, I'm building my business on people I know and the people they know. Do you know of anyone from family or friends, work, your neighborhood, or a group you belong to who's thinking of buying, selling a home, or investing in real estate? I'd be pleased to be a resource for them. That's a dialogue right there you can use. Okay? But you can, of course, tailor. It's for example, if you're talking to someone who you know is religious, he's Christian, anyone you